Welcome in. This is the Out of Sight with Joe G podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so get in touch by sending an email to outofsightwithjoeg@outlook.ie. And now, here's Joe G.
Hi, hello, how are you? You're so welcome to another sunny summer episode of Out of Sight with Joe G. You know, anything goes under the sun on this podcast, so please share your ideas. You must have lots of hot ideas at this time of year. And how are you coping with the long hot summer? As we record, Grania and I are in our back garden, and sure, we're enjoying a nice cold drink and, would you believe it, a lovely iceberg ice cream. And we're looking forward to a weekend. You know, maybe we light up the barbecue in between some of those big sporting events. We've got the All-Ireland hurling final. Indeed, the following week with the All-Ireland football final. And let's not forget Sunday evening's World Cup. That should be something else. Do you know, there's sport everywhere at the moment. We've got the Open, that's the golf in England, the Tour de France, and the Diamond League, which some people forget about, but that's actually the biggest weekend of the Diamond League is on in London this weekend. Well worth a view. It's on the BBC, just for those of you, that's the BBC who do a little bit of audio description. Let's see how they manage with the Diamond League. Every top athlete in the world will be there. Now, barbecues, oh gosh, what about a nice hot dog then? Well, Gus Dorrington found himself being chased by a dog of another kind, a flying Alsatian, and he lived to pull the tail. More about that later. And no hot dogs for Bobbie Hickey, as she was taking us back to her kitchen, where she doesn't give us hot dogs, it's cookies. Tom Kennedy, well, he takes the biscuit altogether, because he's going to take us around the world in 80 cities. That's some doing, I can tell you. And back home, we visited the hottest city in Kilkenny. Yes, it's officially the hottest city in Ireland. And that record goes back, I think, into the 1800s. I'm not going to guess it. Late 1800s, anyway. As we walked into the Vision Ireland offices in Kilkenny, there was Breda Dowling. And she was walking out. Sure, you know something? You could nearly say she was walking on sunshine. Breda Dowling, before you walk away on us, tell me about all this walking you're doing these days.
I walk just for leisure now. I walk in and out to work, which is like about 25 minutes each way in and out to work. And then we try and get out at lunchtime maybe for a 3k walk around the castle or whatever. So mainly for exercise. But yeah, and then if I'm out and about at the weekend, I'll walk the beach in Tramore or whatever.
Lovely.
There's a lovely walk on the beach. If the tide is way out, you can actually walk the whole way around the beach, the back beach, the front beach, and it's like literally probably 6 miles. But it's fantastic when the tide is out and the sun is out. It's really nice. But I have done 2 marathons, Joe.
Yeah.
You might be interested in that.
I'm very interested in that.
I decided to do the Dublin Marathon probably about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And that was actually brilliant. The Dublin one was really good. Now, I only walked it, and that's all. I'm not a runner, so...
Walking is very difficult.
Well, it
That's
is.
42 kilometres.
Yeah, it was a fair long walk now, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It was. But I think that the race in the Dublin Marathon is really... You have loads of support from people and everything, and I think that definitely got me through it.
Yeah.
And then I decided with another girl, actually, who's visually impaired, we decided we'd do the Cork Marathon. About probably just before COVID, actually. So I was her guide, and we did the 42 kilometres myself and herself, and it was great.
Well, the Cork one could have been in very hot weather because they're the June bank holiday.
Yeah, it was, and I ended up with a blister. I tell you that, it was the worst thing ever. But but look, it was great achievement for me to do an actual marathon. Whether I'll do another one, if I was doing another one, I would definitely love to do the Dublin one again. Yeah, but who knows?
And the trick is to get out.
Get
out early. They start early.
Yeah, they do.
It's 7 or 8 in the morning.
Yeah, it is early. Which is great.
And get home before dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And of course, that wouldn't be a problem with Cork with the longer nights. Oh, that's brilliant. So do you count your steps? Are you one of these 10,000 steps?
Well, I do have a GPS watch, all right.
Yes.
A Garmin watch. Not so much, but if I was doing a long walk, yeah, I would. I would kind of keep an eye on it and see, just to keep the pressure up and keep the walking up. Yeah, I think it's good to motivate you, actually, to go faster and keep going,
Yeah.
It's great. I think it's great for anybody to get out and walk.
Well,
I have to admire my mother, actually, for that. She's the one who's probably started us all on walking.
Yeah.
Because she's like 85 walking every day. Yeah.
Well, it's paying for her, isn't it?
Yeah, she's healthy and fit and everything. So
Yeah.
I think if you can get out at all and go for a walk, it's brilliant.
Okay, time for a walk on the wild side. Thanks so much.
No
Breda.
bother. No
Lovely
problem.
chatting with you there, and
You
thank you
too.
for hosting us.
No, not at all, Joe. You're welcome.
Yum, yum, yum. Do you know I'm in the mood for a cake? A lovely chocolate cake or something like that. Bobbie Hickey, I hear you're a great one for baking the cakes.
Well, cookies is my specialty. Yeah, I love a cookie. I love a cookie with the little Kinder pieces.
Could you cook one up now?
Yeah, grand. Just give me about 45 minutes.
Okay.
How long have we got?
So you go into a kitchen,
Yeah.
you've no sight. You've lost your sight the last 2 years or so. Anything that was there. How in Jesus' name how are you going to find all the equipment and how are you going to work this out?
Well, I live at home with my family, so there's 4 of us in the house at the moment, and we're all adults, so it's a busy place and it's a busy kitchen. So I have my drawer in the kitchen, which is everything that no one else uses, that's just mine. I'm not talking about like plates, cutlery, bowls, like, because obviously, you know, we can all share them because they all go back in the same place the whole time. I'm talking about like my mixer, you know, my flour, my sugar, like everything that I need to bake or anything that I need to kind of, that I know that I want to serve things on, or like I have my own little NutriBullet that I bought, that kind of thing. So that's my own drawer. And then I also have, not just for baking, you can bake in this, but I use it for loads more than that. I have a thing called a Ninja Speedy. I tell everyone about this because I think it's literally one of the most effective things that anyone with sight loss or anyone in general can buy. It's about 200 quid. Basically, Ninja is the brand that does all the air fryers and all the creamies and, you know, the smoothie makers and everything like that. But this is called the Speedy, and it has 10 different settings on it. And you can do everything from, you can roast a full chicken, you can slow cook, you can saute, you can steam, you can air fry, you can dehydrate, you can bake a cake. You can literally do anything in this one device.
Wow.
And it is literally one of the best things I've ever bought.
I presume it must be accessible.
I think a lot of people will be able to relate. If a device isn't accessible, we will do our best to make it accessible for us. So unfortunately, Ninja haven't mastered the voiceover part yet. But what I will say is it's not complicated. So I have memorized the amount of, you know, how many times I need to press this button or what does this button mean. It's very easy to figure your way out around the machine, if that makes sense. So the answer to it is it doesn't have voiceover, but it's not complicated to use, and it's absolutely not beyond figuring out for someone that has no sight. Like, I have no sight and I'm able to navigate it, no problem.
Okay, and you don't need any tactile
There is
markers?
tactile buttons.
And did you add anything in yourself?
No, all the buttons are tactile.
Okay.
And it makes a noise when it's on. In terms of not having voiceover, I mean there's 10 different settings and it doesn't tell you when you're skimming through each setting. But like, for example, I know that 5 presses to the right, I'm going to be on the slow cooker. I know that the first setting on the left is the easy meals setting, you know, so
Very good.
you memorize your way around it.
So
Yeah.
now let's step back one little bit. You've got to actually prepare the foods.
Yeah.
You've got to prepare
Yeah.
the cookies.
Yeah.
And you know where everything is. You know where the flour is. You know where.
Yeah.
Okay. So measurements. How do you do the measurements?
I use recipes that measure in cups. So I do have a talking weighing scale. But I don't know, maybe I'm I don't trust things like that. Maybe I should. And I do have one. When it comes to cookies and everything, I would use like an American recipe that measures it out in cups. And I just make a mess when I'm doing it. Measuring out the flour in the cup, you know. But that's how I do things
But you're
like
happy.
that. I'm happy, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think people that eat the cookies are happy too. So
Oh,
there's no
yeah.
complaints, yeah.
Yeah. So and there's no issue obviously then about you have it all on time or after that.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, no, I have an Alexa and she's brilliant. We love her. So she does all the timers and everything like that. And like I do, like when it comes to cooking and stuff like that, nothing is al dente with me. It's always borderline a little bit overcooked because I'm not trying to give anyone food poisoning. So if I am making like a chicken breast or something and it takes 25 minutes in the oven, I'll leave it in for 26 just to be like absolutely sure.
Yeah.
Because I can't see it obviously if it's a little bit pink. And you can get like I have a talking meat thermometer thermometer as well, and you can get talking scales and stuff. And even if you're putting boiling water in a pot, you can get the little gadget that goes on the side of the pot that will beep when you put the water in, like when it reaches the top of it, so you don't overflow the pot. I use that for making cups of tea and stuff like that. So there's lots of little handy things that you can get. Another thing that I love is, I don't even know what to call this, to be honest. I just call it my little chopper, but it's kind of like a circular like lunchbox basically, and you put your vegetables in it. It has a blade inside, so obviously be careful when you're dealing with it. But you chop up your vegetables, not small, just maybe a carrot, you chop it into 4, say, and you put it inside this. Put the lid on, you pull a handle that has like a string attached to it back and forth, almost like a wind-up toy, back and forth, and that brings the blade around and it chops it up really small. It's really good for salads, or if you want to make a stir fry or a spaghetti bolognese or anything like that.
That's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's great. And that's just on Amazon. Like, that's not like the Ninja Speedy and that what I just referred to there, I call it my chopper. None of them are made for blind people. There's all about ease in the kitchen, and many devices now that are good for ease are also good for blind people. The coffee machine that we have in the house has an app, so it's a touch screen coffee machine, so it's completely inaccessible for me to use the machine. The on and off button is tactile, so that's quite fine, so I can turn it on and off with the button, and then I make my coffee with my phone app, because the app was really good with voiceover on my phone. So all of these little things that no one thinks about, that it's not necessarily accessible for blind people, it's great for everyone, but it's the reason why I'm able to use it. And I wrote an article a few months ago for the Irish Times talking about the AGA. It was actually made because the guy's wife that created it was in an accident, or I think it was himself actually, ends up losing his sight in an accident. So he could no longer see when things were cooked, or basically he couldn't use a cooker anymore. So he developed the AGA, and now you have 3 different ovens and 2 different temperature plates on top. So you no longer need to read the temperature on things, you just need to set a timer.
Isn't this amazing?
Yeah.
So to all you blind and vision impaired listeners out there who've been coming up with all those excuses about why you couldn't cook this, that and the
Exactly.
other, just listen to Bobbie here. That's Bobbie Hickey telling us all just the simple little things about the simple way to do things in the kitchen. Excellent. Bobbie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so it goes from the frying pan into the fire. And that reminds us of who let the dog out. Oh, indeed, who let Gussie Dorrington out? Here's the crazy story of Gus Dorrington and the flying Alsatian. It's from my book Out of Sight, Stories of Ireland's Blind and Vision Impaired Sportspeople, which is available, of course, on outofsight.ie. And this extract here is read by Sarah Pyle.
The 1980s were our glory days, a golden era when all was new. Our journey, which began with a weekend in Falkirk in September 1978, was now crisscrossing several UK cities, including London, Manchester, Stoke Mandeville, Peterborough and Glasgow. It was Saturday night after the competition, and the air was getting hot. Time to party. At the bar, the banter was about nearly winning the 100 metre, but now working on the 100 litres. On the dance floor, love stories began. Some endured, some ended. Seoul Paralympian Gus Dorrington fondly remembers early days in Scotland. Quote, Irish blind craft manager Terry McAndrews called us into the boardroom. He said that by going to international athletics in Scotland, we were making history. He gave us 2 days paid leave. Terry, who had albinism, was a gifted musician and actor who was a leading light in B or VI welfare. Gus was good at the long jump, high jump and low jump. Low jump? Gus explains, quote, yeah, after competition we went to this Glasgow bar which was very dark. I headed for the loo but entered through the wrong door. There's a big step. The next thing, bump, bump, bump. Head over heels into the beer cellar, where an Alsatian awaited. Holy F! I was up those steps quicker than I went down. As I recovered, 2 Scottish lads asked me what happened. I told them I forgot my parachute. End quote. As for the Alsatian, quote, he got such a fright he leapt over the bar, taking 50 quid's worth of drink with him. End quote.
Tom Kennedy, man of the world, how are you?
Thanks, Joe. Sure, I don't know, would you call me a man of the world or a globetrotter?
Well, you're an adventurer, an advocate, a man who climbs mountains and a man who swims lakes. What have you been up to lately?
Well, sure, the most recent thing I done, the last 2 weeks, I went over to Dylan, myself and two other friends of mine, and our tandem, and I'd be into the motorbike racing, so we cycled the TT course, the 37.8 mile, that's the route, that's on the Isle of Man, the famous Isle of Man TT every year, so that's about 61k. Went around there a couple of times around the course and I really enjoyed that. Now, I've gone around it on motorbikes in the past. I went around in a taxi one time. I have to say, cycling around it myself on my own bike was the biggest buzz for me. It was very exciting. I enjoyed it.
How long have you lost your sight? How long ago did it happen?
God, I tell you, decades, Joe. Sure, I went blind when I was 19.
You gone to mainstream school, etc.
Yeah, Joe, would you believe it? Where this has been recorded, Joe?
Yeah.
My school is only 400 yards from your St. Kieran's there in college there. In 1977, I done my leaving there, and then I went to an ag college then in Kildalton or Culture College, and I had a car accident. I lost my eyesight. That was it.
And were you hurling before?
Well, I tell you, I was spectacularly useless at hurling, but sure, I was spectacularly useless at most things. But I took up all things then that I really enjoyed, like playing the guitar and travelling and cycling and running, and all that since I went blind, up to when I was able to see, I was just the same as any 19-year-old. I probably thought I was invincible, and sure, who doesn't when they're 19? But then, after I went blind, I said to myself, hey, I better move on with my life and try and do all the things that I wanted to do anyway. So blindness down all the decades, it's more of a nuisance to me, Joe, than it's a mighty inconvenience, as they'd say. But other than that, I've got through it. You see, technology. Before, I used to be struggling with the Braille books, and I had my Perkins Braille printer, and I could read and write Braille, but it was so slow and cumbersome. And then I moved on to getting books on tape and then on CD, and now I have my Borrow Box app on my iPhone here, and now I've tens of thousands of titles, and for my job as well, I work as a switchboard operator in Kilkenny County Council, and I have this the JAWS talking technology on me computer there. So once you embrace technology, it makes the nuisance gets less and less, let's say,
But going back to the basics of Braille, you're an advocate for Braille. Did I hear that you made a bit of history here in Kilkenny with the Irish Constitution?
Oh, yeah, I did, yeah, in St. Canice's, yeah. Fair play to St. Canice's Cathedral in Kilkenny, sure, thousands and tens of thousands of visitors visit that cathedral every year, and that goes back to it was nearly destroyed when Cromwell took over the city and that, but they've put in the headphones tour now. They actually have Braille markings all over the cathedral, and then this is only in the last couple of months that they got me up to test it out. Fair play to them. They invited me, so I gave it a go, and I'll tell you, they have their Braille markings, and they're exactly when you put on the headphones and you press play and you start walking. I'll tell you, it's fantastic. The facility, that headphones is for sighted people as well. It works brilliant for me because I can go and find the Braille, and it'll tell you, what the statue is, or and a slight bit of the history around it. And if you have perfect eyesight, you put on your headphones, and you don't have to be asking, what's this? Sorry, excuse me. Your headphones will bring you around the whole massive cathedral. It's fantastic, really. Yeah.
And you use a white cane.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah,
and you navigate your own way around.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people say to me, Joe, that you should get a dog, but we say, I'm always going here and there, and the stick is a lot handier for me. You just fold it up, put it in your pocket.
Yeah. You can't fold a dog up and put it.
Yeah. Now you have it.
No. So you've been around the world. Obviously, when the eyesight went at 19, which is a critical age, you didn't wallow for too much in sympathy. You must have just...
No, and I had good old support. Massive support from my own family. Obviously, they were fantastic to me. I couldn't say enough about them. And then I had loads of really good friends as well who stuck by me, and I just basically hung around with them, and then I started I could swim. I wasn't a great swimmer, but swimming was one of the first activities I'd done that I didn't need to be attached to anyone, so I could swim up and down the pool myself, and it gave me this incredible sense of freedom. So then from there, then I went on to take up hill walking and running and stuff like that, and on I went then, and then I started kayaking. And I ended up doing things like the Liffey descent, and I hope you don't think I'm name dropping here, Joe, now by dropping in.
Oh, come on, drop a few names.
Yeah, but I done the Liffey descent. I was the only blind or visually impaired person to to do the lift descent. And then, I done myself, and Mark was involved with this. Mark Pollock, like Mark, a complete ambassador for, you know. And Mark went to the South Pole and all that, and an incredible man, and like he was a top class sportsman before he lost his eyesight, but and he won medals in the Commonwealth Games and everything. But like Mark, Jim Fitz was along with me, and Mark and all his crew. We paddled the kayaks in the Irish Sea Kayak Challenge on the 16th of July in 2006. It was a fundraiser for NCBI, for the National Council for the Blind. We paddled kayaks from Fishguard in Wales back to Rosslare, like back across the sea to open sea. That was a big thing as well. Like.
Wow!
So we done a lot of training for that. See, you know, people that say, "God, you're mad," but like there's a whole social thing attached to this as well. Like, you know, you're going training with people, you're having a bag of chips, a pint, or whatever. You know, that recreational sport. That's good for mind and body, you know, I find. And look, that worked out great for us as well. I think that's 2006. Sure, that's 20 years ago now. Sure, this is 2026, Joe.
It sure is. And that's some doing. And as you say, you're not getting any younger, but you're a fit-looking young, middle-aged man.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you see, Joe, like I ran 12k yesterday. I done an 80k cycle on my bike Sunday, but like I'm only plodding along, like, and on my tandem, and like I have a few lads that'll go cycling with me, you know, and there could be a walking as well. Like, you know, I've been down on that the Camino de Santiago in Northern Spain. I've been down there loads of times from San Juan Pied de Port.
Where's the furthest you took your tandem then?
Would you believe the furthest I've taken my tandem is Constanta, which is where the Danube flows into the Black Sea over in Eastern Europe, down through Romania and Bulgaria. But I cycled all along the Danube. I cycled from Vienna in Austria to Constanta. So I went down through Slovakia, Bratislava, and through Hungary, down through Budapest and into Serbia. And on down by Belgrade and into Romania and all.
Oh God, how many kilometres was that?
God, sure, there's about 2,800, I suppose. I've done a bigger one. When I was 60, exactly. This is a laugh now, Joe. The first asked me this question. When I was 60, so these days, 7 years ago, I was up inside the Arctic Circle. I was 60, so I had a big kind of a party when I was 50.
Yeah.
So I said, look, I'll do something like in the sporty variety nature. So I headed off and I had 5 or 6 different pilots now. So it's 4,600 kilometres from my village, Kilmanagh, County Kilkenny, to the North Cape. If you look at a map, the North Cape as right up at the top of Norway, where Norway if you look at an atlas, tips over towards Russia, right? And there's a little island up there called the North Cape they call it. And it's about 200k from this little town, Alta, right? So I headed off through 11 countries, and, you know, 6 different pilots. One guy got me to Amsterdam, another person got me up to Hamburg in Germany, and another person up to Malmo in Sweden. And like, you see, Sweden is such a big country. It took about 14 days to get through Sweden, because if you turn Sweden around, it's just 2,300k. So to go all the way back down to Spain, you know, So anyway, we made it up through Sweden and into Finland and up into Norway and up to the North Cape. But like that took 37 days, you know what I mean? So it sounds an awful lot, but if a serious cyclist would do that in 17 or 18 days, like I was just doing 120 kilometers per day. But like, you know, we say the endurance riders, girls and fellas, would do a minimum of 300 a day, and like on a good day they do 400 and 450 a day, you know.
But that is incredible cycling.
Yeah.
And it's incredible time out of your life as well.
Yeah, it was great. That was a real, it was before COVID, Joe.
Oh yeah.
And before, like basically that time Ryanair would drop you anywhere, you know. Like there were lads flying into Amsterdam, flying home from Copenhagen, flying, and you know, like there was
it's open up.
It was a real, and I basically organised it all myself. Lads, I say you must have it some lad on logistics. I was lucky that when I was able to see Joe, I done geography for the leaving. And I had this fascination about where countries were and places and rivers, and so luckily I've because I do so much traveling myself, I've managed to keep that acutely in my mind, you know, where places are, you know. So anyway, look.
So, okay, so earlier you were telling us about technology and how it's changed your life.
Yeah.
And my God, you've come some distance. Have you any plans for the rest of the year?
I have, yeah. I try. Like, I'll tell you, I started last year in up at Lake Thomé in Switzerland, where the mighty River Rhine rises, and we came down through Switzerland down to that Bodensee, Lake Constance, which is on our maps as any. We crossed into Germany there, them big waterfalls on the Rhine. So we got as far as Mannheim. So we stopped there, and now we're in France as well, in Strasbourg, on one side of the Rhine is France and the other side is Germany. But so we'll go back to Mannheim and we'll get on up, following the Rhine flows in up at Rotterdam into the North Sea. So we should get up close to the Dutch border into Holland, and then next year we'll come back and we'll finish it out to the North Sea. Like, so I'm always and people say to me, why your obsession with rivers? Did you ever see a river flowing up the side of a mountain, Joe? So we'd be carrying our stuff on the bike. We wouldn't have any support fans or anything. So if you can stay by the big rivers and canals, you'll have a bit of climbing, all right. It'll take you away from the river sometimes, but mostly you'll be fine. It's all the hills and the climbing is manageable. But whereas if you head into the Alps themselves, like, and the Pyrenees, like you're talking about, you'll do them, but you're talking about massive climbs. Like, so we try to stay, like, I've cycled I love music, and cycled over to Paris there a few years ago to Jim Morrison's grave. Jim, the Riders on the Storm, the Doors. And Jim is buried in Père Lachaise graveyard in Paris. Like, Edith Piaf is in there as well, and Oscar Wilde and all the wild people of the world. But Jim is parked up in there. We went over on a pilgrimage, cycled to Rosslare, and we got the ferry to Cherbourg, and we cycled down through Normandy. But we met the Seine, the mighty River Seine at Fernan, and we followed that all the way into Paris again, and in by Longchamp and Roland Garros, all these famous sporting places, and into the big roundabout at the Arc de Triomphe. And we actually went around it. A chap from Kilkenny, Don Egan, he's a publican in John Street, myself on the bike, and up the Champs-Élysées. Remember the Charlie Haughey and when Stephen
Roth, indeed.
The Charvage.
1985.
85.
Yeah.
So we cycled up. We passed up by the Bastille and all that, and we stayed in a little area, Montparnasse, a famous area of Paris, and we cycled up to Père Lachaise the next day and went to Jim's grave. So, like, for Jim Morrison's grave, there's a queue, Joe, it's just a pilgrimage the whole year round. There's, like, once the gates open, there's people queuing every day to see Jim's grave, and you go up and you sing, Break On Through to the Other Side, or however Riders on the Storm, however you want, and people sing a verse and leave. Yeah.
Wow, and yet we won't go into detail here, but yet if you go to Venice Beach in California, there's not too many people realise that that's actually where Jim did a lot of his recording.
Recorded, and and sure, LA Woman, sure, there's a record there.
It is, yeah. Well, do you know something? Jim Morrison isn't the only one who opened up the doors to us, because you have opened up our eyes on our doors. Tom Kennedy, absolutely fantastic to meet you. I wish I'd met you years ago. Well done.
I enjoyed talking to you, Joe, and thanks very much for inviting me on, and sure, on we go.
The Doors. Knock, knock. There's so many jokes on that one, isn't there? But I'll just say that I can't get a handle on the Doors at all. Did they record Joseph Feliciano's Come On Baby Light My, what was it? Barbecue, I think. It must have been Barbecue. Sure, it's that time of year. Quick shout out now to some of the great people I met at the Trip to Tip there at the end of June, particularly to Noel Kelly. Hadn't met Noel for several years now, and great to see you still hopping along there, Noel. You're doing great, and you were out on a 5k walk when I saw you. David Ryan was also there, and great to say hello to David as well, because David, you're a bit of a guru at the old technology and all that, and it's a few years since I saw you at Mayfest. Mark Fitzsimon, well, he was using the best of technology. He was on a four-wheeler getting around the 60k course. It's not easy. It looked dead easy when you see it was battery operated, but the battery wasn't sustainable for so long, and they did struggle. Well done, Mark. Well done, and keep up the fitness. Keep up the fitness also, the Galway Activity Club for Visually Impaired. It's great to see you there. You're always at the big events. You're great people all together, and great to see you there. Now, on our last episode, we featured Paul O'Reilly. Paul was talking about the various problems and how you get through airports if you're blind or vision impaired. Well, good reaction to that. And we've also thought then maybe we should talk to Tom O'Neill, because Tom is an expert on travel abroad as a solo traveller as well as with family. So we thought we'd get Tom on, and that hopefully will be in the next episode. Maybe we'll find a bit more about travelling with a guide dog on that one as well. If you'd like to share your ideas on, or if you have travel tips, we'd love to hear from you, because we're learning as well, and the whole area of airports, technology, travelling abroad, how you book holidays, etc. It's all moving along fairly rapidly. So yeah, love to hear from you. Before I go, just to say that Golf Ireland and Vision Sports Ireland have launched a new golf initiative. This is for guides and blind golfers themselves, and it's to help, particularly for guides, help on how to work with a blind golfer to get the best results. So that resource launched this week by Vision Sports Ireland and Golf Ireland. I was at the launch myself. It was in Carton House here in Maynooth, and it was lovely to see so many people there, and best wishes with that particular resource. And so it's a wrap for this episode. Don't forget to tell your friends to follow us. Tell them to follow Out of Sight with Joe G on their favourite podcast platform. Did you know we're also on Facebook and TikTok? And don't forget, if you've an idea or hobby, share it here.
You've been listening to Out of Sight with Joe G. If you'd like to contact the show, send an email to outofsightwithjoeg@outlook.ie. Until next time, thanks for listening and goodbye.